The Sinking City is most certainly another AA, not quite polished H.P. Lovecraft game, but at this point, do you really expect anything else? I mean, you always start off with your down-on-his-luck detective, the barely functioning alcoholic who is having some nightmares or delusions. He travels to a murky and mysterious town, probably in Massachusetts, gets called outsider a lot.
What's your angle, outsider? Another newcomer with another problem. Oakmont is not exactly friendly to new arrivals. You have a point, newcomer. You had better get used to the Oakmont dialect, outsider, newcomer.
You like it here, newcomer? Don't do anything stupid, newcomer.
Outsider, show some respect.
Not so fast, newcomer.
Runs into a cult or two, and by the end of the game, he's either gone crazy, killed himself, or done a mix of both. The detective is constantly confused by things that you, the player, figured out 2 hours ago. Middling graphics and barely serviceable combat are only upheld by the story and locations you explore. At least the lore lets the devs get away with certain things. Graphical glitch? No, that's just Cthulhu tickling your brain to show you some sanity effects. Poor gunplay? No, that's totally done on purpose to make you more afraid of the enemies you're fighting. Like I said, these things are helped a bit by the story, but even that has its problems. We are 3 games deep into a mythos that has nearly limitless possibilities, yet so far we've really only focused on fish people and racism.
I take it you're not the biggest fan of these Innsmouthers.
Those fish-faced freaks have overrun this city since the police burned Innsmouth to the ground. Those filthy migrants occupy half this damn city.
So they're just refugees.
Hardly. They've taken work from the local fishermen. They stir and agitate against us. Simply speaking, they are a big stinking pile of trouble.
It was all that crazy ape's fault.
You have so many stories you could expand upon and delve into, like the case of Charles Dexter Ward or the Shunned House, or many other Lovecraft stories. Yeah, Cthulhu is one of the more recognizable ones, but most people can't even spell it right on their first try. I get it, you can only do so much in video game form with the concept of cosmic horror, but the only thing scary about H.P. Lovecraft anymore is what he named his cat. Go ahead, Google it, I can wait. These games always seem to have really strong openings that offer a lot of player agency and gives you a ton of choices to make, whether that's through different dialogue options or in the gameplay itself. In fact, I'll give credit to the dialogue systems. They certainly beat Fallout 4's yes, yes sarcastic, tell me more, yes, and no, yes system. You are actually given dialogue options that will impact the conversation and how characters interact with you.
How dare you?
But by the end of the game, you're always walking down the same moist corridor, shooting at Hentai's next big star. Then there's always that final sequence, where you're given a set of choices, all of which completely invalidate everything you've done for the rest of the game prior, in order to give you a few different endings that probably ate up most of the game's budget. I'm talking Mass Effect 3 style, but with more tentacles and less...
Bang, okay?
But here's the thing, I still love these games. Every glitch, every poorly written line, and every muddy texture somehow comes together to make a game that I always play through to the end and think, yup, that sure was a game, which is more than I can say for even a lot of AAA releases these days. There's this weird and undeniable charm to how undercooked all of the Lovecraft games are. If your detective is on the cusp of shooting himself, and then his hand does this, you know you've got something special on your hands. When another Lovecraft game is announced, and it will be because they are basically inevitable at this point, I'll still be excited. If you've ever wanted to pay someone to experience a 15 to 20 hour fever dream, The Sinking City is one of the best ways to do it.